Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. It's always an honor and a pleasure to be here with you. I'm excited for this show today. We have a lot to cover and a lot to talk about. Just before I came on, I was in a meeting today with one of our previous guests that we had on the show, and her and I were talking about, she was just featured on the World Parliament stage, and she was featured as a keynote speaker there, and they were, she was featured under the spirituality category. And so I was, asking her how that situation went, and how was her feedback, and how was the show, how was the experience. And it was a 5-day event, and we were talking about, when she was on here, she talked about so many things that really hit home. And we were talking about addiction when she was on our show here. And I remembered just now speaking with her, when when I faced my own inner addict, where I was, addicted to all kinds of things all my life, going from drugs to alcohol to food to drama, you know. And I discovered that when I was doing my own inner work, my own inner journey, that when I got to the root core of what addiction really is, I discovered that there was self hate. I discovered at the root of the addict was self hate. And that addict, all my life long, was running around always trying to numb up that root, numb up those feelings with something to be filling that void. And I remember that I replaced that self hate with radical, radical self love, which is not easy to do, because when you're in the face of hate and not love, when you're in that face, when you're in that space, when you're in that root where you're facing yourself, and where you want something or someone to come in and make it better, right? And in the end, it was the love that I was willing to put into that space, the love that we are, the love that love is. Love is unconditional. Love is loving. Love is God. Love is the universe. Love is kindness. Love is softness. And it was with that application, me bringing love to that space, is when I healed my own inner addict. And so I just want to say, for all of you out there that are practicing self-love, that are dedicated and committed to really loving the self, that has been the homecoming. That has been the journey for so many of us on the path of bringing our truth to, bringing the truth home. So I just want you to know that it's possible, and keep working on bringing the love to where you are, bringing the compassion, that radical self-love, because in the end, what it comes down to, nothing else will do. Nothing else will fill that space. So that was just before I came on to the show today. And I want to also let you guys know that at 1:00 today, we have Diane Solano. And Diane is going to be bringing on a guest, to a person that healed himself. I was actually chatting with him on Instagram this morning, and he was talking about, he healed his own cancer. So that's at 1:00 on Transformation Talk Radio. Make sure you stay for that show. And then at the 1:30, we have Christelle Biga, and she's going to be bringing on again, talking about the power of intuition. So, 2 power hours today with amazing people that are coming through, the Cornelia Stephanie and Transformation Talk Radio Facebook. So, thank you so much for listening and for tuning in. Stories of hope today. In these times of uncertainty, when nothing is as we thought it would be, how can we find peace, be the love that we want to see in the world? That's why I created the stories of hope, so that you can hear other people that have, overcome insurmountable odds, and that have created new pathways, new ways of living and being. And that when we share those stories, that you can find hope, that maybe it will give you an idea and inspiration. Maybe you will hear something that's going to inspire you and help you on your path today. So, my first guest, I can't wait for you to meet her. I'm excited to meet her because wait till I tell you about her bio. Her name is Sam Razzaghi, and is she's an engineer. She's an engineer and has worked in the energy sector for more than 15 years, focusing on innovation, design, and project management as, as daily competencies. This motivated her to start designing, I love this, a bag for professional women who want to look stylish throughout all facets of their day while commuting, in the office, and after hours. Pensata was born by an engineer trying to think about every design possibility that a woman's bag could need. Sam's life journey from being a woman in the energy sector, immigrated to a new country by herself, and work in a different culture taught her how to be resilient and always look at the bigger picture of life. For that reason, her vision is to build a community for resilient women who do it all. Welcome to the show, Sam Ragazzi.
Thank you so much, Cornelia. It's thanks for having me and thanks for the intro.
Yes, it's wonderful what your mission is, for what your vision is, and for what you're doing. I hope that you're going to have a bag to show us. Um,
Oh, yeah, I guess I have. It's just a little bit further there.
okay.
Yeah,
Well, take us on your journey. You came
sure.
here today to tell us the story, and
Yeah,
I want to hear, where you came from and what your story is, that we can be inspired by what you're going to share with us.
sure. So I born and raised in Iran, and I became mining engineer, and then I got a master and PhD in petroleum engineering back in home and moved to Canada in 2009. Before that, I worked in UK, I worked in Venezuela for a while, and I have been in energy sector for more than 15 years, and still working in the corporate companies. um, yeah, moving by myself to a new country. um, I couldn't find it as a challenge, but it was something that I really wanted. So I wanted to kind of like try to work in another country and live in another country, and see how does the world look like, basically. So I believe every single time in my life it's like kind of like the checkbox, and I find another things to kind of start working on it and just keep going and finding new things. And I always have a big goal in my life, and I'm just like keep going toward that. I get a setback for sure during my way to get to where I want to be, but I believe that bigger picture, family and love that I get from like people around me, it helped me to just like move forward. um as you mentioned, it has been for like, I think, 4 or 5 years that I was watching women like myself going to work and carrying a couple of bags, and I was keep thinking about it. I hate carrying a couple of things, and I hate to carry things are so heavy. So I was just like, is there any way that I can make this happen? Maybe like engineer something that still looks good, but it doesn't look like a gym bag. Let's say it's kind of like different. So it took me like 15 months, and I did some survey and from women, like, what do you carry in your bags? Like, what is the most important one? And one of the message I had was less is more. You don't have to carry like a bunch of stuff. And if it has the compartment, you will see what are you carrying, and you won't carry more than what you need. So as you get older, older like me, so you don't want like carry many stuff. Your back start hurting, or like shoulders start hurting, and you want to kind of be careful with that. So basically, I came up with that, and I launched it during COVID, which was very interesting. And I knew that it must be some setback there, but I was like, I was so, I mean, basically the way I started thinking about it, I was just like, okay, this is the year that I have to learn, and I have to launch and kind of like go forward and just doing it and keep understanding what my customer needs. But women are women everywhere. They need like something like that. And I was fortunate that I had customers around the world, which was I communicate with them myself, and they know me as Sam, that who did this, and basically she's a founder, and they know that if drop me an email or send me a message anywhere, so I would be the person that who kind of like reply to them directly, at least until we grow to where that I might have some kind of help from other people. But I try to kind of like because I want to know my customers, and I want to know my their need, basically. So that's all about me. And yeah.
Wow. I mean, so you and I have this in common with, coming from a different culture. I came to this country when I was 13. And so I was a young girl. And so I know what coming at the time, think about it, at the time coming to a new country when you're 13, that's very challenging because you're in your, growing up into a young woman at that time was very challenging.
Right.
So, but I know what that is like
Exactly.
coming to, a new country. And I know it's definitely an adjustment. And then for you to come by yourself, I can only imagine what that was like for you. So you came here from Iran, and then now did you then become, are you on a green card? Is how did all that happen? Are you who's sponsor? Like, did you get a visa?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough that I was in Canada presenting in a conference, and one of the companies, they basically interviewed me and offered me a job. So they got me a work permit visa, and I became permanent resident here, and now I'm citizen. So it has been 12 years already
In Canada?
in Canada. Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably really easy
It,
to.
exactly. I was one of the lucky one. Basically, I had a job when I moved here, but so one of them might give back to the community that I'm coming from, and I haven't come as a refugee, but I think I can relate to them a little bit, not much, because they are going through lots of like ups and downs before they move to a new country. But we just launched our first giving back to the community of refuge women, and right now we are giving like 10% of our kind of sales to refuge women that they basically they're trying to build their career here and build their business here in Canada. And I just like started collaborating with a nonprofit company, a nonprofit organization is called Jumpstart Refugee Talent, that they are helping men and women, but they have a program just for building her startup. That's their program, and this is going to go back to their program. And um, I'm very passionate about that. It's just like I understand like how hard it is to kind of settle down in a new culture, especially if you go through all of those trauma and all of those difficulty to get here.
Yeah. Yeah. I just love what you're saying about the startup and about the nonprofit and what you're doing to help women now in this way. This is one of the ways that you're giving back. You're being a wonderful positive example of what women can do. and that not to let anything stop us from moving into our abundance, not the culture and conditioning what we were born into.
Yep.
Because when somebody was asking me the other day, this on Facebook, I saw this was great. Asked me, who are you? What's your name? What do you do for a living? What's your background? What's your culture? And I remember when I was answering the questions, one of the ways I answered is that I am now a galactic citizen, meaning that I'm a global citizen. I am, even though I live here in America, and I became an American citizen in 2007. And even though I also find that my heart approaches the world from a state of oneness,
Right.
and and that makes me a galactic citizen, and it was neat to be able to come to this place to know that, and answer the questions like that. And that's why when I see you as a positive role model for women, that I'm sure from your culture, from Iran, where women are conditioned, and correct me if I'm wrong, to not stand in their power.
So we have actually in Iran, like we have lots of educated women there. So
Okay.
I can say I think the last time I saw it was like more than 50% of
Oh,
like, the university attendees are female, basically.
oh,
We have lots of educated women back in Iran, but there might be some other stuff that they restricted them kind of like mm, um, being in the power. But when we and and I have seen many people like myself here in Canada that they came in, they start working, they are generating money and kind of like they are in a good positions. The other way that I would also look at it, like in general, in the corporate companies, there are less number of women, especially in engineering, less number of people in the power or in the management kind of positions, which made kind of like my position difficult. When I came here, I was just like in a different culture, and also I'm in the basically um, mm, male kind of environment that I have to kind of like we go to the meetings and I think now it's a lot better, but before I used to be kind of only one female in the meetings, and then I was always thinking, oh my God, English is not my first language, and I always like kind of like bringing myself down. I am not kind of speak up, and I still have that problem, I guess. Um, in the corporate basically,
yeah.
and and all of those are challenges. And you were talking about love and don't hate yourself and love yourself, and that's difficult. You have to practice that and
It
keep
is.
yourself like positive and let like because some part of that is out of my control, like it's the environment, so you cannot change them like overnight. So you have to always be like kind of like the positive in that kind of like situations.
Yeah. The whole thing, because you're saying a lot of things. We're talking about self-love. We're talking about the male culture of the male dominant world, where women had to present themselves in equality, and where they weren't valued in the way that they deserve. Women
Right.
had those challenges, and even receiving equal pay, and or even extend that, I mean, to make a better living. Women still have to deal with that. There's still a
Mhm.
lot of that going on. I see a lot of that in the African American community, where I help in that way as well. So I see that there, and I really want to help people, to all people, to
Mhm.
really step into their right livelihood, into their right
Mhm.
abundance, because we're talking about fairness and equality, and that time is now for all of us,
Exactly.
and it's a win-win for us all. And so I always love when women are inspired to become entrepreneurs, such as yourself, and what you're doing. And it's an incredible story how you became a Canadian citizen. I'm glad that you came here today to share with us. So what I'd like to do now is it appears that our next guest had some internet problems and is not here. So you're lucky because you're getting extra airtime, which is fantastic. So why don't we do this? Let's take a break. And then when we come back, I want to show your bag. I want to tell the people where they can find out a little bit more about you and maybe even your nonprofit organization that people can look that up. And we can go from there. So let's take a break on the Cornelia Stephanie Show with Sam Razzaghi, and we'll be right back. We are back. Welcome back to the Cornelia Stephanie Show. I'm really enjoying Sam's conversation that we're having. And we're extending this interview today simply because Karen Armstrong was going to be with us, and they're completely out of internet. They have no internet where they're at due to high winds. And it's amazing what happens. You know, we have to be able to go with the flow no matter what. The show must go on. And so that's so great. We're just going to extend our time with Sam, and we have plenty to talk about. But I know if you're anything like me, you want to see the bag. I want to see the bag. So let us see that beautiful bag that you designed and created.
So basically, this bag is look like a normal bag. So when you say it, but there is the feature on it which has the secret pocket here. Basically, you open it and you can basically put your shoes on. And if you're on the go and you want to kind of like, especially if you're leaving Canada and you cannot really wear these in winter time outside, so you want to always have a spare shoes basically. And I have seen, I'll open, just bring it up to show you a little bit better. Yeah. So this is just like the soft bag inside, and I have people that they are using it as a lunchbox for them, so instead of shoes. So there's like two different ways that you can basically use this. And the inside this bag you will have a place for your laptop, so you can basically have a place that you can put your laptop. I cannot show you properly, but then if you also don't use your shoes part, so it's basically become a normal bag like inside. So there's a couple of pockets here for your phone, for your pen. There are two pockets on the side. We won't say it, but there is for your bottle of water, your glasses. So there's lots of compartment in it. At the end, also there is a detachable like key leash that you can basically just detach your key and just like move around, or you don't, if you know that how we lose our kind of like keys inside our busy bags. And on the back also there is another kind of like pocket here, so you can basically, it fits easily an iPad, your tablet, it can easily fit there. So with all of those things, it also comes with a crossbody, a small crossbody wallet that is grab and go. It has like the two, just like one kind of like small for your credit card, just like handy over there. They're all RFID, so it's basically it's safe if you want to put your. Inside is like kind of like the just couple of card holders, and you can fit easily your passport in it. And if you want to just, you go to the work and you want to just go grab a coffee or lunch, so you don't have to take your big bag with you. So that's the whole concept behind it, that when you go out, you can go from the morning up to the night if you want to go and grab a beer with your friends after COVID, I guess. So you can do that. So and I have traveled with it a lot, so it's really handy if you're going to go for a day trip or like just business trip, so you don't have to like carry like so many stuff, and just this one and your carry-on, it's good enough. So whole concept behind that is just like be light, don't carry too much, and just see where's your stuff and just like have an easy access to them.
Yeah, and so this was your design and your creation. I love it because, and now that the inside of it, does it have, it's one compartment on the inside, right? Is it so one compartment?
That compartment that I was showing that you can put shoes in it is a soft compartment. So if you don't use it, basically it can strap back and it's become a normal bag.
I see.
from the inside. If you go to my website, basically there is a video that it easily shows like how you put the stuff in, and there is a top kind of like pictures that it shows exactly what is inside. Uh, but yeah, so it's basically your shoes is gonna go underneath of everything else.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but if
Uh,
you don't use it, it's just like the soft bag. We just
yeah.
want it to be like wipeable and kind of like waterproof, so you don't put your shoes next to other stuff.
Yeah. I love that. I love that you can put shoes, or you can put lunchbox, or you can put iPad. You can put different things in there. So
Exactly. And
whatever
your laptop,
is,
like 13-inch laptop, is easily going in its own compartment. And yeah.
yeah. And I like the detachable thing. So definitely let us know where the website is.
The website is called pensata.com, pensatta.com. And pensata is an Italian name. It's the meaning behind that is like the such a great idea, and it has an "a" at the end, which is like kind of related to a female. Basically, that's the whole kind of idea. Everything is around women, basically, in this concept. And in pensata.com right now we have 30% off just for the Black Friday and holiday time, and we are giving back 10% of sales, not profit. The 10% of sales we are giving back to jumpstart refugee talent to basically help another woman build her career.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's really the new model. It really is a way to support women entrepreneurs, giving back to something that you're passionate about and helping somebody else. I love that.
Yeah, yeah, it's um I really like my big kind of dream is basically to make it here in Canada and train and give job basically, or create jobs for women in need, in general, basically. Because I always say not everybody is engineer or doctors or like things. There are lots of people, they work with their hand and they are amazing. Like in the culture I come back, lots of people, they have like the swing background, and if we can make it happen here, that would be great. It's the dreams comes true for me.
Yeah, I love that. I'm so glad that you shared that because I want to see your dream come true. It's wonderful that you even have the dream and that you're willing to speak the dream, live the dream, announce the dream. And so I want to see that come true for you. And that's I always like asking people what their vision is, what their dreams
Mhm.
are. And I'm glad that you shared that with us. Give us the website one more time for so that we can share that again.
It's called pensata.com, PENSATTA.com. You can follow us on Facebook. It's called Pensata Bag. On Instagram is Pensata. So it's yeah, you can follow us on LinkedIn. We are almost in Pinterest, LinkedIn, everywhere, and just and this one is just the first design, and I'm working on the next and next and next. So basically,
Yeah.
and we basically ship worldwide, especially for the US people. There's a free shipping to North America.
Yeah, I love that. I definitely want to go. I definitely want one. I definitely want to go look at it. I'm glad that you came on. And I mean, we're working with so many women all the time and
Mhm.
talking about the things that we love that are
Mhm.
locally created also, and
Exactly.
which is really important right now is
Yeah.
purchasing local and supporting the entrepreneurs and artists that are here in our local communities. So, Sam, it's wonderful to meet you.
The same.
Thank you for taking your time and coming on and for sharing. And let's get this video out. Let's get this podcast out. Let's share it with all of our social media so that more women can be inspired, more people can be inspired because you see Sam has a big dream, a big vision, and we want to help her make that a reality.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed that.
Thank you so much. Okay, my dears, it's wonderful to facilitate the Cornelia Stephanie show. We're going to get ready for our next guest, and we're going to say we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. Back, everyone. You're listening to the Cornelia Stephanie show. It's always so wonderful to have these amazing speakers here that are sharing their incredible stories with us so that we can find hope in the midst of all this uncertainty that so many people are faced with. My next guest, Carey, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Cornelia. It's really great to be here.
It's wonderful to have you. So, just to let the audience know a little bit about your bio and what it is that you do presently, you are a health coach, you're a nutritionist, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you have the holistic approach. You use the
Yeah.
holistic approach, and you're here today to share a story with us of what got you into health coaching, nutrition coaching, and using the holistic way of healing.
Yeah. And like I briefly shared, and now to share with your audience as well, is that I essentially got into what I'm doing now because I was chronically ill and I had chronic fatigue. And that was a culmination of a lot of things. So it was a lot of years of being very unwell, where my body eventually just shut down. And so, I became very afraid of living because it was, even walking 20 minutes was really hard. And I had a big dog that needed a lot of exercise. And I had a full-time corporate job. I was at university as well. And I was in a very stressful relationship. And at the time, I was seeing doctors over and over again, and they just kept saying, nothing's wrong with you, nothing's wrong with you. But I was sick all the time. I had a throat infection probably every month, really bad stomach pains, sort of IBS. And that was really quite embarrassing too, because you have to rush off to the toilet or avoid social situations altogether. So life became pretty depressing, and I was sort of really running on adrenaline, I think, just, I had to keep it all together persona, and found it really hard to ask for help, and that kind of thing. And my body just eventually gave up, and it was just no more. And, we could sort of talk forever about all of that, but essentially what I ended up doing, even after seeing lots of different natural therapists, was I just checked myself into a health retreat for a week in Australia. And I was set to actually move overseas to London shortly after that. And I think the stress of all of that was going on as well. And I landed at this retreat, and I thought this was going to be a group retreat, and it wasn't. It was private, and it was just me. So I got there, and I said, where is everybody else? And the lady said, oh no, it's just you. So for me, it was just, I landed in this place, and essentially it was a lot of detox, a lot of things I'd never heard about before. It was juicing with green juices and taking herbs to flush toxins out. And I learned about things like meditation. There was a lady that came to teach me yoga every day, and I had some form of treatment each day, like a massage or Reiki or, something like that. And I was really left in this lovely space with a lot of time on my own that I'd never had before, sort of surrounded by books on health, videos on health. And I watched a movie called What the Bleep. I don't know if you've watched that one. And I fell in love with Joe Dispenza's work in that. And I paused the video every time he spoke and wrote down what he said. So you know, it was the first time in my life that I made a connection between the thoughts that I think and how I feel, that I'm an energetic being, that I have a vibration and I have an aura, and how I'm feeling is affecting my world around me. And so it was just like a literal kind of aha moment, after one after the other, and it completely changed my life, and how I felt. And by the end of that week, I left there with more energy than I think I even knew was possible to have. And the time that I spent there was a lot of reflection too. So the relationship that I had been in, he was quite a severe drug addict, by the end, and I was trying to keep that secret from everybody and hold that all together and fix him, and hold my job down and finish my degree. And you know, there was a lot of secret keeping that I had, because I was trying to present this image of I've got it all together and I'm okay, but really I wasn't. And then I realized that the people around me, not all of them, some of my dear friends then are still my great friends now, but I was around a lot of people with addictions, a lot of people that were not really helping to support a flourishing lifestyle, and were not into well-being or anything like that. So it was a huge letting go for me, that time away. And I was so excited and inspired when I left, that I just kind of launched into this new lifestyle. And one bit by bit, one step at a time, I made changes to my life and the thoughts I thought and what I was putting into my body, and caring about what I was putting onto my skin. And so it's, I mean, really, to give hope that if you've got chronic illness, that you don't have to have that for the rest of your life. And I do work with women now with chronic fatigue mainly, and many of them come to me thinking that's it, it's a sentence for life, that they own this thing and it's them. And so I really work on helping them see that it doesn't have to be who they are forever. And you know, my experience was that chronic fatigue went in a week, but then what that allowed was for me to heal all of the other things, like migraines and my stomach issues and all those other things I could progressively heal over the years. And so, you know, that took about 6 years to heal all of that. But that experience just gave me that motivation and drive to then, I moved countries on my own and really just immerse myself in that world. And recently, actually just beginning of this year, I left my corporate life behind completely, just to work in nutrition and well-being. So I'm not sure if you want me to explore one of those areas a little more, Cornelia, but just sort of share that kind of overview, which is quite hard to pack down into
It
time.
is. It is, but you told the story so well, you know, how you immersed yourself into your healing and that it is a step-by-step process. It didn't just, you know, happen overnight, but you were dealing with a lot of issues and were, you know, because you were talking about your stomach issues, your throat, your
Mm,
the chronic fatigue, and how it began with the retreat, and then little by little over the years,
mm,
you really started, you know, healing on all the levels. And you know, because again, when we come into an illness like this, it's not something that happens overnight. It didn't come in overnight. It's been something that's been a long time into that we've been living with for a long time, right?
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you make a great point actually, because it is something I think often we want a quick fix. We're sort of an instant gratification society at times, and you know, you can order something off Amazon and have it the next day or whatever. And often in healing, I mean, I don't know that I thought that myself, but I do come across uh, people as I'm working that, you know, want to heal really quickly. And I do often say, how long did it take you to get here? And, you know, not to say that you can't heal overnight, because that anything is possible, right? But sometimes we've done a lot of undoing to get to where we are. We have to sort of make our way back to holistic health and give our bodies a chance to really recover. And I like what you're all about with the mind, body, soul approach, because I can see that in real life too, because I had, after the chronic fatigue, when I was able to deal with everything else, and something that I struggled a lot with in London was candida. I really suffered with it. I was, had chronic thrush infections, and that was every month. And I did all the physical stuff, no sugar, just eating 3 meals a day, everything. I got the Donna Gates Body Ecology book and I read it back to front, and I did every single thing. And none of the physical stuff helped. And it was actually going to a meditation workshop. I'm a student of Joe Dispenza. I've done all of his work. And it was one of those workshops, 5 days. I went and I came back and I never had candida again. And so that was just, one of the examples of the emotional, spiritual side that sometimes is what needs the attention over the physical that you're trying to do.
Yeah. I totally am a believer that, 90% of our illnesses are emotional based, and the other 10% is environmental and all the others. So it's
Yeah.
emotional based. And, because it seems like even when you went to the first retreat, when you did that first healing, was about massage and about having
Mm-hmm.
the smoothie and relaxation, and being, you were the only one, and just doing some reading and relaxing and all of that. And then all the Joe Dispenza work, the higher consciousness, the
Mm.
hear the truth, and we release and let go of the toxicity of the toxic emotions that we've stored in our bodies over
Mm.
the years, that it's like peeling the onion. So
Yeah.
I think that you have a lot to share, because you've got your corporate job that you've let go of, and then you've got your holistic healing, the chronic fatigue and illness, and there's so many things that we can dive deeper in. But I want to let the audience know now how they can find you on social media, and for the people that want to get in contact with you and work with you directly, because I know that
Mm.
there's many women that are suffering with this, and you are a health coach and a nutritionist, offering this holistic approach. So how can people get in contact with you?
Oh, thanks, Cornelia. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I've got the same name across everything. So my website's katecareynutrition.com, and it's the same across my social media. And so Instagram and Facebook, it's Kate Carey Nutrition. And I'm also on LinkedIn, because a lot of corporate women are suffering with health and burnout, and having had a corporate life. I'm on there too, and that's just as my name. And sometimes the nutrition bit can be misleading, I think, but nutrition to me is nutrition for the mind, body, and soul. So it's everything. And I normally find if you get two of them online, the other one comes on board too. So, a foundation of good food and good thoughts, and you can usually, start to balance the spiritual out, or just, pick a couple of them and let the other one naturally come in and come online. So definitely one step at a time, I find that's my approach anyway.
Yeah, I love it. And might I also say that you look absolutely healthy and glowing. And
Thank
so your
you.
healing is definitely evident in your auric field, in your being, and how you look on camera. And so you can definitely tell you're glowing. So thank you so much, Kate, for coming on and for sharing with the audience today your healing story. And audience, thank you so much for tuning in, for listening to the Cornelia Stephanie Show. And we'll see you again next time. Take good care of yourself.